this construct that the covenant amillennialists would tell you. You approach Scripture with this in mind, and the Scripture will make sense for you. That's what they say. Of course, what they don't tell you up front is that this old economy of the covenant of grace, Mosaic Law, right off the bat, this doesn't fit into their little scheme here. They've struggled with this concept since the beginning of their theology. There's articles on this. For example, in this article here, The Sinaitic Mosaic Covenant, Works or Grace, Turretin explains. Francis Turretin is most helpful in the sometimes heated discussion of whether the covenant God made with the Israelites on Sinai was simply the covenant of grace renewed, or simply the covenant of works republished, or something else, a third thing. Turretin first rejects the third covenant opinion, which the celebrated man John Cameron taught. Turretin then goes on to say that the Mosaic covenant was nothing else than a new economy of the covenant of grace. It was really the same with the covenant made with Abraham, but different as to accidents and circumstances. Having said that, Turretin explains the works principle that was active in the Sinaitic covenant by explaining that the covenant of grace here at Sinai was clothed as to external dispensation with the form of a covenant of works through the harsh promulgation of the law, not indeed with that design, so that a covenant of works might again be demanded with the sinner, for this was impossible, but that a daily recollection and reproaching of the violated covenant of works might be made. Thus the Israelites felt their sin and the curse of God besides hanging over them, and acknowledge the impossibility of a legal righteousness. The works principle, the covenant of grace clothed with the covenant of works, was to drive the people away from themselves to the righteousness of God and the redemption of which He is the author. Hence in it, the Sinaitic covenant, there was a mixture of the law and the gospel. The covenant of grace was under the rigid legal economy, and over it, or clothing it, as Turretin noted above, was a new promulgation of the law and of the covenant of works. This confusing nonsense is what reformers spend their lives doing. It's funny how they want to use their philosophy to try and figure out the purpose of law. The Apostle Paul explains the purpose of law. We don't need your hypothetical, philosophical, man-made covenants to discover the purpose of law.